Well, I would say this has been here in America the most outrageous trial I have seen in terms of hate being vented since the OJ Simpson case in the 1990s. I'm amazed at how social media took over this case and really made Johnny Depp their hero and made Amber Heard their villain. And, you know, the irony here is that this was a case about defamation. He had sued her, and then she filed a counterclaim against him. And if anyone ended up being defamed, certainly it was Amber Heard, and sadly, the Me Too movement here in America.
Tell us a bit more about why you think there's been so much interest in this case.
Well, I think, listen, you had all the makings of a sensational case. The fact that it was carried on television, it was live streamed. It wasn't like the OJ case, one camera. There were multiple cameras in the courtroom. And you have today social media. You had the TikToks, the memes, the Instagram followers. And Amber Heard, for whatever reason, and it's very complicated, why she became so hated over the 6 weeks. But it took over the case. And I'm convinced that the jurors who were not sequestered in a hotel, they were able to go home each night during the 6 weeks. There was also a 10-day break in the trial. I'm absolutely convinced that they heard from friends and family, even though the judge had instructed them not to listen to read any newspaper or listen to any television. I'm absolutely sure that they were influenced in some way in their decision by social media. And there's a famous author here, feminist author Jessica Valenti, who wrote yesterday that Heard has become a completely dehumanized stand-in for all the hate people have towards women, but can't find a way to justify it. And you saw that on social media, how she was skewered. There were death threats against her. There were rape threats against her. She came across from courtroom watchers as maybe being a little disingenuous in her responses. But she moved a nerve in a lot of people. They didn't like her. They viewed Johnny Depp as a flawed hero, as a kind of a cool, tough guy. And they were willing to listen to what he had to say about their dysfunctional marriage, the violence, his admitted drug use. For some reason, he was given a pass, and Amber Heard was not, and she is the one who now is going to suffer because her career is, without question, damaged beyond repair.
Do you think then she has a case for appeal, and is she likely to go forward with one given all that's happened throughout this trial?
You know, that's an excellent question. We do know that she has herself put up $6 million for her legal fees, and now she has a judgment against her by this court for $8 million. So I think there's going to be a lot of soul searching whether she wants to move forward.
Well, the jurors also found that Mr. Depp had defamed Ms. Heard, but to a lesser extent.
Yes, it was a bit of a contradictory decision in that regard, but they didn't find, the jury technically found one of his former lawyers that he had actually called it a hoax when he said that she claimed that she had smashed up their penthouse apartment, and in fact the jurors found that to be untrue, so they awarded her $2 million as part of that. But the big takeaway here is that he was found to have been victorious in this trial. All this came down to a very simple opinion piece that she wrote in the Washington Post, in which she simply said that she was a public figure who was a representative of domestic violence. And to me, and I think many of those who, legal experts who saw it, is that she did not libel him in any way. She had been on the cover of People magazine with bruises and a cut lip. She had filed a restraining order at the end of their marriage, the end of their 15-month marriage against him. She was clearly a representative of domestic violence. But this case, over the 6 weeks, absolutely spiraled out of control to a point that I have never seen in terms of covering trials during my career.
So, Barry, what impact do you think this will have on other similar, less high-profile cases in the country?
Well, I think that for women, this was a very dark day, particularly for women who are victims of domestic violence. After reading and seeing what Amber Heard went through, there will be women who will be fearful of challenging and coming forward. And I think that's a very sad thing.
And the trial has heard both give vastly different accounts during the relationship, the violence that happened. How difficult would it have been for the jury to reach their verdict, given the contradiction throughout the whole trial, do you think?
Well, I mean, they clearly, this trial wasn't so much about facts as it was about sympathies. That often happens in a defamation case like this, particularly one that's heard in front of a jury. I want to point out, and I think it's extremely important to say, that Johnny Depp had sued a newspaper in London, calling him a wife beater in a headline related to his marriage against Amber Heard. And that was not heard by a jury, but a judge made the decision. And the judge found 12 of the 14 instances of domestic abuse that Amber Heard had alleged. The judge found that to be true. So you have a completely different outcome here in America than you had in the UK.
It's interesting to make the comparisons. Barry Levine, thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you.